Hi everybody. So we finished up our little nonfiction unit. We're going to start a new unit learning about folklore. What is folklore, you say? Well, we're going to think about and learn about what it is. Today I'm going to, I'm going to move over here. I can identify the common traits of folklore. Folklore is sometimes called traditional literature. And I know you've read some fairy tales before. Fairy tales are a type of folklore. Cinderella. I think you even studied Cinderella and folklores last year. That type of fairy tale. But it's under the big category of folklore. Some of the other ones are folk tales, tall tales, a myth, a pork-white tale, fables, and legends. And they are traditional because at the beginning they were passed down from generation to generation. They were told stories, they weren't written down. So traditional means it comes from a long time ago. It was a tradition for people to tell stories and tell it to each generation. I'm sure that maybe your grandparents have told you stories, passed down a story to you, maybe a story they learned from their grandparents. And they might have learned it from their grandparents before. So that's what folklore is. It's stories told traditionally, passed down from one person to another. So today we're just going to explore some folklore. And how we're going to do that is I created on Epic, I have created something for you. So you will need to log into your Epic account using your class code. You can get that from your teacher if you're not familiar with it or can't remember how to log in. And then when you log in, you pick your name, of course, and it looks like this. I'm on Briley's. Borrowing hers. So then you log in. And then up here, you're going to have a box. Let's open this up bigger. A mailbox. And it should have a 1 or 2, however many collections, because I've shared a collection with you. And it says folklore unit. All right. I'm going to make this smaller again. And there's a whole list of folklore for you to explore. Some are myths, some are fables, some are legends. You're just going to explore all of them. Fairy tales, and see what you notice in them, okay? So I thought I'd read The Fox and the Grapes. I noticed up here, it might be hard for you to see, but it says it's an Aesop fable. So this is a fable. All right, I'm going to start. Oh, I'm going to get to the first page. Oh, this says moral. When people cannot get what they want, they sometimes tell themselves that what they want is no good anyway. One hot day, a fox walked along a path. He noticed a bunch of grapes growing on a tall vine. The fox licked his lips. The grapes looked juicy and ripe. Said the fox. Those grapes taste good on such a hot day. The fox reached for the grapes, but they were too high. Stretching his arm, he can't reach them. He stretched his arm and stood on his tiptoes. He still could not reach the tasty grapes. The fox walked back a few steps. He ran forward and jumped, but he missed the grapes. The fox tried again. This time he ran faster and leaped with all his might, but again he missed the grapes. Again and again the fox tried. No matter how hard he ran or how high he leaped, the fox couldn't get the grapes. Finally he gave up. I didn't want those old grapes anyway, the fox huffed as he walked down. I'm sure they are sour. This makes me think about what it said at the very beginning of the story. talked about where it said moral. Whoops. Moral. When people cannot get what they want, they sometimes tell themselves that what they want is no good anyway. And I noticed the fox told himself, oh, those grapes are probably sour. Excuse me. And no good anyway, so I don't want them. So I noticed that it has something, this one has something called a moral. So I wrote down, because I'm exploring folklore, and the first thing I noticed, is something called a moral. Okay, and I'm going to spend some more time just looking at some of these, more of these books, and see what I notice about them. Some of them are longer. I'm not going to pick too many because I want you to read. But I want to look at this as Sleeping Beauty and other tales. So it has, my table of contents tells me I can read any of these. Oh, there's Cinderella. I know that story in Sleeping Beauty. I know those stories in Red Riding Hood. And there's Little Red Riding Hood. I'm not going to read the whole story because I want you to read it. Oh, look, there it says moral again. From the short story, ease was discerned what conduct all young people ought to learn. But above all, young people growing Mrs. Fair, whose orient rose blooms began to appear. So this is a long moral and it's kind of hard to understand. But it does have a moral. So this one might not be the best book for you. Oh, this one has a moral. Sleeping Beauty in the Wood. I know that story. But anyway, what I notice is these are fairy tales and they have a moral. Okay, let's look at another one. See what I notice. This is a whole book of Aesop fables. Oh, I know something about fairy tales. What I've read about Cinderella, so I'm going to go ahead and write it down. I know, like, there was Cinderella and her three mean stepsisters. I know, in Sleeping Beauty, there's the good people, and then there's that bad witch and the prince that tries to save Sleeping Beauty. I know in Snow White, there's the 7 dwarfs who are good, and there's another witch that is bad. So sometimes I notice they have good and evil. So I just wrote that down. They have good and evil. So your job, as you read today and explore, you're just exploring, is to notice what you notice. So on your seesaw page, I actually have what I noticed about folk lore. So then I would just type down things that I noticed. Okay? You should not have the same things I do. You need 5 things. 5 things that you are noticing about this text, this type of story. So, because that was your I can identify common traits of folklore. So have a lot of fun reading those. Those folk tales and folklores are a lot of fun to read and see if you can learn anything. All right, I'm anxious to see what you guys come up with. Happy reading.